Welcome to sunny South Florida. Wait a few minutes. I'm a little early. Hey Debbie. Hope everyone's having a great Tuesday. Is that what it is? Hey Mary. So today we are going to talk about the caproni wrap. So we are going to use this guy. I know some people have been using the caproni wrap, and I wanted to come up with an interesting way, hey Mary, to do something different. I get materials and I'm like, well, how can I use this in a different way? So I will show you what I made. And forgive me, I had to be outside. This is very messy. Otherwise my husband would probably divorce me. So I made these. This is what we're going to learn. I get this out from under the cloche. Excuse me. But here we are. So we're going to do this today. And if you could do this, you could do so much more. So we're going to just do some quick basics. It's actually easier than you think. And you can move on to something like this. And I've also made, I know some of you have seen these adorable little birds using the caproni wrap. Can you guys hear me? We're good? All right. So what we're going to need today, we are going to need, where are we? You're going to need at least an 18 gauge wire or a floral wire. I got this at Lowe's, $9 for a tire spool. You're going to need aluminum foil, nothing spectacular, super easy. I'm sure everyone has this. We will need pliers because we're going to be twisting wires. We're also going to need wire cutters and your imagination. So go ahead and get those aprons on. I hope y'all are ready. It's super easy. You're going to be blown away, and I expect to see lots of fungi everywhere. Okay, so first things first. Forgive me for being outside. Again, it's windy, a little windy here, but a gorgeous day. So, yes, we're going to go down. Excuse me and my mess here. All right, move my little bird out of the way. So, first thing we're going to do is you're going to make your form. Super simple. What is a caproni wrap? It's a Venetian plaster wrap, specifically designed for very high-end craft projects. So here we go. You can make a form like this, and I'll show you how to do it. Super simple. Or you can even be more creative and more environmentally friendly, which I like doing. I am an avid Nespresso drinker. And so these make the cutest little mushrooms, little ones, perfect to this. See how cute that is? Look at that. Who knew? So if you like a really perfect, cute mushroom, this would be really cute with like the white and the red. Perfect little mushrooms. But I love the big old shiitake looking mushrooms, the ones you find in the forest that look super lumpy. So we're going to start with that one. First things first, we're going to start with our wire. You want to make sure you have a stem long enough that you can implant into your, if you want to do a live green, or you could do the foam one, and with the dead moss, or you can make a living one, which is so neat because plaster does really well in a moisture. So it'd be perfect to do a living moss bed. So you're going to take it. We're going to make the circle first. This is a little tough on the hands, so go ahead and pull out those pliers. You just loop it around for your form. I know these are glass pliers. These are my old ones. I got a new set, so I'm using these. Okay, so just like that. Now you're going to make a piece to go across the top because you're going to need a way for that plaster to not just break through that aluminum foil. So the caproni wrap there. So just like that. You want to give it a little bit of a cap. See how I'm making that little cap right there? And now you're going to loop this around. Just like that. This will test your hand strength. Again, use those clippers, use those wire cutters, clamp it down. All right, good. So we got that piece there. We're gonna cut that down. Now you're gonna make your stem. Make sure you leave a long enough stem. You can always cut it back. It's harder to add more stem. So we're gonna loop this in. And it's not going to be a fixed position, and there's a reason why I don't want it to be fixed just yet, because not all mushrooms stand perfectly upright. Some of them are slumped over, so this gives you the freedom to be creative. So once you get that, you want to make sure this comes down. You don't want any sharp points coming through, so go ahead and bend it down and squeeze it in. Perfect. So from here, you want to get your aluminum foil. So I'm using, when you do big, talk to you for 1 second. When you do big sculptures, you use like a wire, chicken wire, or a more gauge fence. But for smaller projects, I found that aluminum foil works really great for sculpture. So I'm gonna bring you down again. All right, sorry if I'm making some thick. Okay. So go ahead and you want this to be just a little bit bigger than your mushroom. You're gonna fold it under. And this is where your hot glue gun, if you have one, a hot temp glue gun would be excellent. You can secure it by just adding in a little bit of hot glue here, just to make sure everything stays. And once you get the caproni wrap on there, you really don't have to worry about anything moving after that. So here we go. And again, there's still a little flexibility of how you can move this, and we want that. Now I want you to look at the top. Don't get it so lumpy that you're gonna end up with all these bubbles everywhere, because that's what that end is your end result is going to look like. So that's your top. You're gonna take another piece of foil here, and you're just gonna go around the stem. And you don't have to use all of it. I just happen to just cut it back. Super easy, twist it around. There we go. There we go, and just keep kind of twisting it down. You want the stem to not be super thick. At the end, yes, but not at the top. And then now you can take your hot glue gun. You want to think about what position you want that to be in. Do you see how that just kind of has a nice lean to it? I think that's a perfect spot. So we're going to hot glue just a little bit right here to make that stay, just to hold it in position before we put the caproni wrap on. And so that's your form. Okay, so whatever lumps and bumps, be happy with it, because that's going to show through. If you don't want it lumpy and bumpy, wrap it a little better, and that way it's a little smoother. Remember, you can also do, if you want that perfect, cute little mushroom, you can use a different form, like I used the Nespresso tops. I doubt they really recycle these, so I'm saving the earth one Nespresso cap at a time. But there we go. That's that. So moving along, we're going to go from here to our finished. That's our finished form. And now I'm going to show you how to go ahead and add in the caproni wrap. We are going, it's a big roll, so you want to work in small rolls. As you can see, it's super dusty, or not dusty, but you know, you might want to wear your mask, your dust mask, especially when you sand. I will, for sure. So I'm going to cut it down. You want to just cut slightly bigger than your actual mushroom top, because that way when you fold it in, it tucks under nicely. Does that make sense? Hey, Jane. All right, so we're gonna take this in some water. I'm gonna move this big roll out of the way. I don't wanna wet everything. Okay, so we're gonna have your water source here. You can use a sponge. Personally, I like to just submerge it slightly. Just get it a little wet, maybe even crumple it up because you wanna make sure you get both sides. Okay, so now we're gonna put this over our mushroom top and just spreading it over. Use those fingers. I'm a huge fan of fingers. And we're just gonna tuck it over. Now, I usually use more than one to go over the entire top, and you're just gonna smooth it out. Don't worry if it's a little clumpy. I have a solution for that. But do you see how that makes a nice little cover? You could do more than one. I wouldn't go more than 3. 2 to 3 is pretty sufficient. And now you're gonna do the underside. So I'm gonna cut another piece here. I use typically I use an old pair of sewing shears because they cut the wrap really well, especially when it's wet. Okay. And see, I have it nice and wet here. We're gonna take this, tuck it up into the mushroom, and now you're going to wrap as you go. We're gonna wrap it as we go. And you see right there. And that maybe squeeze out a little bit of that excess moisture. It's not sopping wet. And for this piece, I do an entire little tiny square. I slide it up through the top and then I press it down in so it's completely covered. And you don't even see any of that underneath. So I'm gonna cut that real quick. Again, we're going to wet our caproni wrap. And I'm gonna add a little hole for that stem so I can just slide it right over. And now we're hiding all the underneath in this mushroom. I know this looks like a hot mess, but it's a lot of fun. It's the end result is so cute. So see how I slid it underneath? And this is what's neat about the caproni wrap is now you can add in design in the bottom of it to make it look like a real mushroom. And so that's where we're at right now. We need to let this little guy dry. I always let any Venetian plaster or my caproni wrap dry for an entire day. Just let it harden up. It'll get nice and hard. You don't have to worry about it falling over or breaking. So we're gonna move from here to what? I already made one for you. This guy, I love him. He's so cute. And as you can see how I did the underside of it as well. So I know you're looking at it and you're like, wow, this is really textured. I don't know if I really like the texture. Well, let's go ahead and take our 220 grit sandpaper. Shame on me for using my Festool paper. And we're just gonna sand this down. Gently bring it down. And you don't want to bring it all the way down. I think what is so beautiful about these mushrooms is they're perfectly imperfect. You know, especially out in the woods, it's one of my favorite activities, go mushroom hunting. I don't pick them because I would probably poison myself, but my dad, who's from Italy, that is like a big activity they used to do when they were kids. So just sanding that out, just like that. So now here's a fun option because we are working with the caproni wrap. We can also work with the Venetian plaster to add design to, if say there's a piece of texture showing through with a caproni wrap, you can go ahead and use the Venetian plaster to really fill in any imperfections that you don't really care for. So when you mix the Venetian plaster, you want it to be a little thicker. I pre-made this for you guys so I wouldn't have to make it sitting there talking to you. I do like to make my Venetian plaster ahead of time. It just works nicely. But as you can see, it's a nice thick paste at this point. You don't want it too thick because it will crack, but just enough. And now you can smooth out any imperfections. Make sure it's not lumpy. So if you need to use a hand blender or a drill mixer to go ahead and get all the lumps out. But now I'm just smoothing out some of these. Any imperfection. If there's a gap, you can fill that in. You can add design into it by etching into it. I use a clay, I don't have it here, but there I have a, when I do clay work, I have where I can etch design into the Venetian plaster, but yeah, you can etch if you like. And so to go through the whole thing, go through the stem. You're gonna let this dry again for another day. These are super easy, super quick to make. Then once those are done and dry, you can come back with milk paint. And here's something, please don't laugh. I love to use my egg tray as for when I use small paints to do, when I use a little bit of milk paint, I'll just take it from the bag and I just use a little bit and I use an eyedropper so I can, and then what I love to do is mix. So I'm always mixing. So add it in. Now you just make your consistency that you want. This was for the birds I was doing. But yeah, so now we're gonna paint our mushrooms. We're gonna use milk paint and it's almost like a watercolor. And remember, it's gonna look darker when you paint it. So it'll dry light. So say we wanna just make that a little brown, like it's been in the dirt. Maybe, and you can also use your seawool sponge, which is really great for this. I do say, like, if you don't know a lot about mushrooms, look online. There's some really great photographs. In my art class, they used to say, draw what you see, not what you know. So same thing. I use the same concept. I go online. I'll look at all kinds of mushrooms. Some mushrooms will have a little bit of a little bit of yellow. We can blend it with the brown so it's dirty, maybe a little white. Make a taupe. And then you're just adding in wherever that mushroom. And I love, now you can see, I love the texture that it picks up from the Venetian plaster that you put on too. So cute. And so you could do red and white little mushrooms, like on this one that would be super cute. Or you could do like a moss, maybe if it had some mildew growing on it with a little bit of green because it's been in the woods. And then if you want to add some fleck, you can use a toothbrush, mix up whatever color you would like to fleck onto this. You're going to dab it onto your brush. It's just a technique I use for painting. And you're just going to overdo it. And you can take that off. Just a little too much there. But actually, I mean, it's been sitting in the woods. So I actually kind of like that. And remember, this milk paint is going to lighten. It looks dark right now. I promise you it will go much lighter. You can just add it in, maybe a little bit there, a little bit of dirt. You can make a different dirt color. You could do a little bit of brown. Just add a little bit. I'm the kid that nobody wanted to paint with because I mixed all the colors. I'm so sorry, guys. I just love mixing colors. So just like that, we're taking it from that simple form, bringing it to a bigger form into that aluminum foil. We're going to use the caproni wrap to wrap it up, let it dry, Venetian plaster, let it dry again. Now you can milk paint it. Now, once it's milk painted, you can add in you can wax them. You can add a little light wax, dark wax, dust of ages, make them look super old. But these that I did here, Really simple. And I'll let you take a look at them a little bit closer. Move this all out of the way. See if you can see that there. Really pretty. Now for this base, you can use a faux foam, or you could use a live foam, and you can use, get this, everything's soaking wet. You can use a live flower foam. You're gonna cut it down to size. When you get it to the size you want it to be, now this is something I've harvested from my yard. How cute is that? And it's live. You will place it onto your foam and you're gonna pin them with pins and pin it onto the foam, and it will continue to survive. And because this is a Venetian plaster and the caproni wrap, they love water. They do excellent together. So these mushrooms will continue to look great as you still have a living moss like that. So that is lots to go over. Please let me know if you have any questions. I do have a couple more things I'd like to show you that you can, now that you've mastered the mushroom, you can make all the mushrooms. You can also do, and if you have extra Venetian plaster that you don't want to waste, because I hate wasting, you can make really pretty flowers, putting them into the Venetian plaster. And this is really cute for wedding decor or any kind of decor for your house or guest bathroom, because Venetian plaster likes water. So how pretty is that? Not wasting. I'm all about not wasting. You can also, now that you've got the mushrooms down, you could do these adorable little birds. How cute are they? This is aluminum foil. There's aluminum foil form, and I wrapped it with your caproni wrap, and then I sanded it down and I smoothed it out, and look how cute he is. Look at the little, you do detail into the wings, into his face. Also right now, which is really on trend, is vines and fruits. This is aluminum foil. And this is the Venetian plaster and the caproni wrap all together. How cool is that? So these, I've seen some of these sell for upwards of $800 and more. You could do a set of these as a housewarming gift. How cute. Literally this cost just the caproni wrap and Venetian plaster, and that, I mean, I did everything in Venetian plaster, so kind of neat. But if you have any questions about anything I used, please ask in the comments, and somebody, myself or Amy, will get back to you. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you enjoy a sunny day here in South Florida, and thanks so much for watching. Take care, guys. All right, bye.